Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Catalyst, our last meeting of the year. Thank you all for joining us. If I haven't met you, that would be strange. But if I haven't, I'm Dave Obudzinski, President of the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain, and I welcome you tonight. Thanks to you, our members, and to any visitors who may be checking us out tonight. We will be holding a member appreciation drawing at the end of tonight's meeting that everyone will be eligible for. That was the blue ticket that you were handed. If you did not get a blue ticket, we'll make sure that you have one by the time we do the drawing. I'm now going to launch into a lengthy and time-consuming close. Nah, we won't do that part. Does anybody here not have a blue ticket? Okay, that's great. We did our job. All right, as promised at our last meeting, tonight we will be giving away a brand new car. What? I believe Shaler Auto World was the donor. Thank you. We're our reps from Shaler. There you go. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So stick around for that. You don't want to miss it. But before we have fun with that, special thanks and for our consistent and wonderful support from several hosts who have allowed us to hold meetings in some great settings throughout our community. The Hospital of Central Connecticut in May. In September, there's a Stanley Black & Decker facility. And tonight, for our third and final meeting of the year, an anonymous Community Foundation donor has arranged and paid for our meeting here at Shuttle Meadow Club. So thank you to all of those folks for doing that. Those donations of time and resources really help us to keep our costs low and be able to give more money out to the community. So we really appreciate that. Special thanks to the Catalyst Steering Committee, who we've introduced you to at the previous meetings. They work in our Catalyst program throughout the year, preparing, advising our team, and so much more. So if you have any interest in joining that steering committee, let Jolene Ruck on our staff know. Jolene, are you in the room? Nope. She's already left? Oh, this is gonna go well. She's at the bar. Gin and tonic, 2 limes. Now, before we get started tonight, there she is. Just talking about you. We like to have fun at these meetings. It can't just be program stuff. So before we get started with tonight's official program, what I wanted to do was to take a few minutes to show you a video that we recently produced in our office showing the impact of our capacity building program that we initiated in 2018. Catalyst really was the group that planted the seed for this valuable program when it made capacity building for nonprofits the topic that we selected in 2015. Members chose Donosky and Associates to provide a series of hands-on and in-depth training for local nonprofits at that time, and that was met with great enthusiasm and filled a need that our organizations in the community had. Today, the capacity building initiative, ongoing initiative at the foundation, includes workshops for staff and board members of nonprofits, mini grants to help them go deeper with what they have learned, an executive directors forum, which brings executive directors together on a regular basis to network, share and exchange ideas, and a nonprofit library and resource center on site on the first floor of our building at 74 Vine that has both printed materials that organizations can borrow, as well as online resources to help them conduct grant research. Normally, your organization would have to pay $3,000 a year to have access to this particular online resource. We were approved by the Foundation Directory to be a satellite site for this part of Connecticut which allows us to offer this resource to nonprofits at no charge. So we pick up the tab for that and allow those nonprofits to come in and use that site to learn what are the other foundations they can apply to for grants. Again, Catalyst was the catalyst for what is in place today. So what you chose, what you researched, what you selected, and the program that took place became an ongoing initiative in this community. So we produced this video and we wanted to share it with you so that you could see the ripple effects of what you started 4 years ago. Candace? It's okay. And I'm going to read the first part of this because it's a little far away for some. In 2018, the foundation established a new capacity building initiative to provide local organizations with resources aimed at strengthening them. To date, over 50 nonprofit organizations have benefited from the initiative, which includes 3 components: workshops, the lending library, and the Executive Directors Forum. And the Executive Directors Forum is also very valuable.
Very impactful. I think one of the greatest things that I've learned as a new executive director is that when you have the board in leadership and the staff and the volunteers all moving in the same direction, and it's just an amazing synergy for your organization. And when that's not working well, I think one of the things that I learned is it detracts, it takes a lot of energy, and just takes away from your organization.
We got next steps, which was fantastic because we got all this information, and just now with the one-on-one, we were able to gel it into next steps.
Kind of the road that we need to follow to expand from this point on. I think that's going to make us successful. These seminars have been really priceless. Sharon has done a phenomenal job.
Say that the capacity building workshops have been impactful for the Early Childhood Collaborative of Summerton. Our board has gained a greater appreciation for what their role is as far as governance and fundraising.
They have been impactful. Our board has started to think about what we actually need the board to do and who has to do what. And that's a pretty powerful thing to have happen for us.
I, in particular, am a hands-on learner, and I learn through relationship. So I feel like Sharon, in particular, even though she would be talking to a group of us, her delivery is very authentic, and it feels individualized, even though I look around the room and there are directors and board members from a variety of community resources and nonprofits. I'm very grateful to the Community Foundation for bringing Sharon in, because her superpower is to make you feel like she's talking just to you.
So I feel like she has shepherded us along, and as an organization we've grown and built capacity so much since we started.
Well, and it's been helpful. I have a whole list of potential places to apply for grants.
We're able to access organizations' fundings that would have been virtually impossible. It would not have sought us out. It's a tool, a vehicle to find sources that really align with what we're doing more specifically, as opposed to just a shotgun approach.
Yes, we found it helpful with some funding sources that we had applied for in the past. And when I saw that some of them were not giving really to people in Connecticut, that stopped me from applying, wasting my time and applying again. And in another case, I saw that I was really outside the average of what people were asking for. I was asking, I think, too much. So I reduced the amount. I don't know yet for one of them, that one, whether or not we're going to get it, but it made me rethink, how much I should be asking for, and I'm hoping that we have a better chance with them as a result.
Oh, that's the best. I think the value is in that I don't feel alone in the struggles struggles that I'm facing. For a really small nonprofit like Family Promise, where I only have one other colleague part-time, it's started to, the forums have started to feel like other coworkers.
Executive director forums, the lunches, the breakfast, have been fabulous, especially again, being in this new role and just learning from the others, seeing that, we all have similar challenges, similar successes. Some of us are further along in maturity of our organizations or boards or fundraising or staff or whatever it is, and it's just great to be able to talk to your peers.
Yeah, I think it is true that executive directors are very lonely in many regards. You can't really share with staff and you can't really share with board members. So it's a very unique kind of situation, so it's nice to have.
I think that is a great place to be able to share some of the joys and concerns of being an executive director that you really can't share with staff or board members.
It's a place for us all to convene, and I often feel siloed in my one spot, in my office, and I like having everybody to talk to and realize that my problems are not just mine.
Really appreciate the foundation's commitment to capacity building. It just came at a perfect time.
And it's great that in our 90th year, we're able to approach our 100th year with so many moments in our hand.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it so much. I know when David first came, and he did the walking tour, I know that the thing, and I'm sure that several people talked to him about capacity building being a big need, and we needed this. The Friendship Center needed this, and the Community Foundation came through with that, and we really appreciate it. We could not have done this work on our own. Is helping us help ourselves, and by giving us those tools, I think it also allows the foundation to expand.
And we also want to thank you for making this possible, because without you, we wouldn't have had this training, and you're making a huge impact on the group.
I hope you enjoyed that. We want to, whenever we can, show the impact that your decisions are making in helping us to help the community. And my thanks to several people who are in the room who participated in that video and gave us their comments and their feedback and are helping us to spread the word about that. So my thanks to them, and also to our staff, Kim and Candace, for producing that video and putting that together. Nice job of doing that. Jolene for leading the capacity building efforts and everything that we do. We have a great team on board doing great work, and but we are buoyed and pushed forward by the spirit of the people in the room and the spirit of the donors who are supporting us. So thank you very much. It's my pleasure to introduce Julie Erickson, Senior Vice President from CCARC.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to report back to the Catalyst Fund regarding the funding that we received from you last year in implementing an autism workshop series for families of children who have autism between the ages of 14 to 21. I thought it might be best, instead of just talking to you, that I lay out some of the information in a PowerPoint presentation, and I tried to make it a little colorful. First off, I'd like to share a little bit of information about the workshops. Each workshop had sign-in sheets, so I was able to track attendance, and attendees were asked to complete an evaluation form at the end of each session in order to measure their satisfaction. Obviously, in order to keep the interest of people, I did provide food and beverages as well. The workshops were offered during the weekday evening, either between 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. or 5:30 to 7. I was really trying to get a gauge as to what might work for folks, and typically it was either a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, or a Thursday evening. We did provide respite, we offered it, and it was provided for 4 out of the 9 workshops. that we offered. So we had families that were able to attend the workshop, so with their child who had autism, and we had staff that were available to do activities with that child so that the family members could sit in on the autism workshop series, which was wonderful. So we did that in almost half of them. Only one of the presenters charged a fee, which was wonderful. Not that I encourage people to charge us, but only one of the presenters actually requested that a fee be given for his presentation. I want to talk a little bit about the community outreach that we did. We did hold 9 workshops. They were held from March through November of this year. We just finished our last one up on November 7th. All of them were held at our agency here in New Britain, CCARC at 950 Slater Road. We're fully accessible. Seemed to be a good central location as far as our target group of families that we were trying to reach from New Britain, Berlin, Southington, and Plainville. I did create 2 brochures with the help of some of the staff at CCARC. I created one that was for the spring summer workshop series, and one was for the fall workshop series. Made a lot of phone calls, did a lot of outreach. I did distribute brochures through the superintendent's office for the public schools in New Britain, Berlin, Plainville, Southington, and Farmington public schools. The superintendents obviously have to give permission when anything external is going out to the students. So fortunately, those superintendents and those school districts were very willing and able, and took the brochures and distributed those to the families. In fact, the Plainville Public Schools posted it on their webpage as well. Also had some brochures at the New Britain Public Library and the Berlin Public Library, and the New Britain Community Services Department, which has a Persons with Disabilities Commission. They were very anxious to grab a number of those brochures as well for both parts of the series. Each presenter, each of the partners that I worked with for those 9 workshops, each of those presenters were very willing and took brochures as well, and they handed them out to their stakeholders as they were meeting with families who have children with autism. Did do some paid advertising. Did it in the New Britain Herald, the Berlin Citizen, which is a local newspaper in Berlin, the Plainville Citizen, which is local to Plainville, and the Southington Citizen. Also did press releases, submitted quite a few press releases for each of the workshops. Each one had a press release that went out to the New Britain Herald, the Plainville Citizen, the Berlin Citizen, the Southington Citizen, the Southington Observer, and the Bristol Observer, again, to try to widen that gap a little bit in regards to advertising, to make sure that we were getting press releases as well. I have children who are millennials, so they said, you need to do social media, Ma, because that's how people learn about things. So I did a lot of social media connections through Twitter, all different kinds of Facebook pages, and actually some people said that the reason they came was because of the Facebook postings that I was using. CCARC is now friends with Farmington Septo and Planning Across the Spectrum and all kinds of places, because I was actually accessing and sharing our event from CCARC's Facebook page, and please everyone like our Facebook page, and connecting that with the various social media outlets there, as well as Twitter, our website, CCARC website had it as well. As far as attendance, our workshop attendance, on the average we probably had about 8 people, 8 individual families that came. The March workshop had 11 people. There was actually 14 that registered, and you'll see that commonality with each of the workshops. People would register, but then they wouldn't show up for a variety of reasons. Some who would actually reach out to me and tell me why, others who didn't. April, we had 7 people with 11 registered. May, we had 8 people with 13 registered. June was 11 with 12 registered. August was 17 with 26 registering. And I'm going to actually share pictures of the workshops real quickly with you so you can see what they were. September was 4 people with 14 registered. October, and I think some of that was school. School starts up in September. October was 5 people with 7 people registered. I had another one at the end of October with 6 people and 5 were registered. And our most recent one in November was 7 people and 10 had registered. I went through the sign-in sheets, and we had attendees were families who lived in New Britain, Berlin, Plainville, Southington, Newington, Farmington, Torrington, believe it or not. They came to Dr. John Multaney's presentation. in Hartford. One set of parents, who are my new best friends, Anthony and Paolo, they came to every single workshop. Every single workshop. They were sponges. They have an 18-year-old son who's a member of the New Britain Public School community, and he's a part of the CLIMB program. He does have autism. And so he, clearly that 18 to 21 gap there. But they came to every single workshop, which was just amazing when you think about it. So to share a little bit about, some of the workshops, on March 21st, Dr. John Multaney, who's really a tremendous advocate for people with autism, as well as a high knowledge person. He works at the Autism Center at the Hospital for Special Care. He talked about goals and objectives of transition. Is your child receiving the outcomes that you want? In the first slide is the presenter, and in the first picture rather is the presenter, and then just some pictures of the attendees paying attention. It was a wonderful workshop. Any handouts that were given, I made sure that I worked with the presenter on having enough available for all those that attended. I also have, in my little book here, I kept all the information that was given. It's almost like a scrapbook of all the resources, because actually even today I got a phone call today from a family member regarding some recreation services they were looking for. Oops, I apologize. On April 10th, we had Allison Copey. Allison is a certified rehab counselor, and she came from the Department of Rehab Services, the Level Up program, and the topic was Level Up program and beyond, and that's Allison and some of the attendees. Again, they offer a lot of transition options for students between the ages of 16 to 21, and so she really talked a lot about their Level Up program. The Department of Rehabilitation Services is a state agency, so it was important for families to know how to access that state agency. On May 14th, we changed it up a little bit, and Jackie Prosick, who's the Director of Programming, and Leah Moon, who's the Board President at Autism Families Connecticut, talked about having fun. Having fun is essential. And I had never really known that much about Autism Families Connecticut, and some of the families were just blown away by what they do. They offer all kinds of recreational and social activities from the ages of 5 to the age of 29 for children with autism. They also have events for families, because sometimes families need to do fun things too. And sometimes they do combined events. All of the people that they hire for these recreational and social activities are educators or trained therapists, and they get to know the kids really well. And again, all those recreational activities are in the evenings, on weekends, all kinds of fun stuff. So that was tremendous. A lot of families were very excited about that. The next workshop was on June 12th. Again, we had another state agency come in, the Department of Social Services, Autism Spectrum Disorder Services. Kathleen and Nate came in and talked about what they do in regards to offering support services for families with autism from a state perspective. There's an autism waiver, so they talked a lot about the autism waiver. August 29th, we had Attorney Colleen Massey. She came, this was our highest attended workshop. People were very interested in knowing how to plan for the financial future of their child who has autism. So Attorney Massey came in from the law firm of Sapega, Daly, Pope & Perry. It was not a promotional thing for her. She just gave them information on special needs planning and special needs trust. September 10th, Leslie Simoes came in. She's the Executive Director of the Autism Services Resources Connecticut, as well as Sherry Tabor, who is a parent advisor. She's actually a parent herself of a 30-year-old man. She lives in Plainville with autism. And so they came in and talked a little bit about what they do at the Autism Services and Resources Connecticut and how they can help families. October 3rd, we have the Riverbend Academy at Tungus Community College, because I was hearing from families that some of their children are interested in going to college. So there is an option for transition programming between 18 to 21 for a child to go to Tungus Community College through the Riverbend Academy. As well as Project Search, which is more of an employment program, and that's run out of UConn Health Center. October 29th, I had Melissa Gagne come in. She's an attorney with a law firm. She actually is a former educator. She happens to be on our board of directors, and she decided, because she has a child with severe autism, that because she went through such a horrendous experience with transition, that she became an attorney and does a lot of disability rights work in addition to some other things. And so what I found interesting with this workshop was a lot of family members were taking out pen and paper, and I actually provided pen and paper for them, and actually writing down what she was saying, because she was telling them exactly what to say when they're going to PPT meetings with the school, and really sharing what their rights were, which I thought was great. And last but not least was Representative Kathy Abercrombie. She's our state representative that really is a champion for people with autism throughout the state of Connecticut. That's really her passion, to be honest with you. She shared the story of why it became her passion. She talked a lot about housing options. I had given her the heads up that a lot of families were interested in housing as well, so to make sure to cover that. And she covered some of the laws. Just this past year, she passed a law in the state of Connecticut that transition for children with autism should start at the age of 14 and not at the age of 16. And that law was passed. So, you know, she was sharing all kinds of laws. Some testimonials, basically. I mean, everyone really had wonderful things to say. I'm not going to go through each one. But what did we learn by doing this workshop series? One of the things we learned is that, in fact, there really are a lot of resources for family of children throughout the state of Connecticut, those children who have autism. However, access to those services can be difficult due to waiting lists as well as costs. Some things cost money. So there is a lot of stuff out there, but unfortunately there's waiting lists in some situations as well as fees. Parents need to know more about what their children's rights are. There was a real sense, an aha moment with a lot of families there that kind of started putting two and two together in regards to what their rights were. And so I think even more education needs to be provided in that arena. One of the most exciting things for me was families connecting with other families. They were exchanging phone numbers and email addresses, and peer-to-peer parent support is probably one of the best ways that particularly a family member who has a child with a disability can learn about, you've been there, done that, can you help me? Or let's go through it together. So that was really, to me, one of the biggest highlights. Actually, the smaller groups I felt allowed for more interaction with people. People felt more comfortable. They felt more like they wanted to share their stories as opposed to the larger groups. And as far as what was really of utmost concern to families was financial security, more recreation opportunities for their children, because their children don't fit really into groups. They don't fit necessarily into this group, and they don't fit into that group, and there's some social awkwardness. Choosing the right school transition services. They're bombarded with all kinds of information as they're going through transition, and it gets very difficult to navigate that. As well as housing options. That was a big concern that families had as well. So I'd really like to thank the Catalyst Fund for providing us that opportunity to offer these valuable workshops that I feel empowered the families to explore some additional options for their children with autism during those transition years. And thank you very much. We're very, very appreciative for that opportunity this year.
Does anyone have any particular questions that you'd like to ask Julie before we move on to the next portion?
Yes, the question, going forward, what will you do with the information, this experience you had in 2019 going forward?
Well, going forward, I actually, like I said, I've met a number of new colleagues in the field that I hadn't been exposed to before as a result of the Catalyst Fund. So I feel that I am a resource. I've probably met close to 30 to 40 families who have children with autism going through transition. They've developed a relationship with me, and I'm hoping that as they begin to have more questions, they'll reach out to me, and hopefully I can either help them or give them the resources in order to get whatever it is they need. So it's almost like a one stop. They can give me a call, and hopefully I can guide them in regards to where to go.
How about the families that could not make it to these workshops and will be coming to you in the future? Would you consider having workshops in the future?
Possibly, yeah. I don't want to satiate the issues either, so I think we'd probably have to spread it out a little bit differently. one of my concerns was whether or not the monthly workshop was just too much. You know, and at one point I had thought about, well, geez, maybe I'll just do one big workshop for the fall, and then I backed off on that because I was also hearing from some of the people that were coming that they really kind of enjoyed the small group. So I had actually spoke to my supervisor. I'm betwixt and between. What do I do? You know, do I do a large group? Do I do continue with the small? And I chose to stay with the small.
So this really got you thinking too about, you know, how we should do it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, in regards to the spacing, I think, of the workshops. And then, you know, life with a child with autism is difficult. I honestly had some family members tell me that they had every intention of coming and then something catastrophic happened. And then, you know, there's others that became sick. I mean, there's lots of reasons why people had registered and didn't show up.
So they have another opportunity in the future to have another workshop so they could attend, you know?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how I would line that up. If I was to do it, I would do it very differently. I wouldn't hold it every month.
So did the number of attendees meet or exceed your expectations?
I guess I was initially kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. That was my initial gut response. Because I was feeling like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I had done such a tremendous amount of community outreach, you know, on a regular basis before each workshop, and reaching out, you know, to tons and tons of people. And I have relationships with some of the superintendents in the schools, and, you know, just trying to figure out how we can make this work. And I think the reality is that the other thing is there's a lot of stuff going on with available things that are happening for folks with autism that they have to pick and choose what they're going to go to. That's one of the things I learned. There's a gentleman, his name is Andrew, and he has autism, and he works at Planning Across the Spectrum, and he's a young adult, and he enlightened me about all the available things that are out there. So literally family members could be doing something a couple of times a week. There's parent support groups that happen at the West Farms Mall once a week. Planning Across the Spectrum does driving. You know, if you have autism and you want to learn how to drive, they do a presentation. Autism Services and Resources, Connecticut and Wallingford, they do statewide kinds of things. You know, on a weekly basis, they have parent groups. So I think a lot of it is that, you know, it almost needs to get connected sometimes. There's too much available, and I think people have to pick and choose what they want to do.
Thank you.
Oh, one more?
What district is Kathy Abercrombie representing?
She's the 83rd district, so she represents Meriden and a portion of Berlin. And she's been in the House for quite a few years. I want to say it's her 6th term, her 7th term. But she is a champion for people with autism. She invited the families up. As a matter of fact, I told them that I would get an agency van, and when they're having, she's doing some public hearings, she's hoping with the new session, that I would take them up so that their voice could be heard. They want to hear. They want to hear from families, the legislators. So I committed to, you know, if people are interested, I'll grab an agency van, we'll go up and you know, give you an opportunity to share your story. Legislators need to hear the stories.
Very good.
Oh,
thank you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, one more. We gotta move on with the
What
program.
are the possibilities of this continuing on and spreading the program? That's the concept of the Catalyst Fund, that it starts the ball rolling. Is that ball going to roll?
Like I said, if it is going to roll, it's going to roll out differently. I think the monthly workshops is just too much, knowing that there's other things that are happening. I think, like I said, some of the connections that we made in regards to, like, Representative Abercrombie, there's kind of a group of families, I think, that are now interested. They're connecting with each other. I'd like to see that keep going, you know, that kind of stuff, because that peer-to-peer support is so important. And if there is going to be any workshops, I would definitely not do it on a monthly basis. I think it was, you know, got to be too much for people when there's other things that happen in life.
The concept is still viable as you see it?
Yes, oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, knowledge is a powerful thing, and I was, like I said, there were so many aha moments that I saw with families. And I saw people, you know, taking lots of notes, spending time with the presenters afterwards, you know, picking their brains on things. So that's all positive and that's all good. And if I can be the conduit for the connection for families, now that they've become aware of us, to make sure that they're getting those resources. I'm there for that. I want to make sure that that happens.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you so much.
As you can see, part of the Catalyst experience is lessons learned. It's organizations trying something in a particular way and realizing maybe we have to approach it in a slightly different way. And that's all part of also being a catalyst in helping organizations to realize how should these services be delivered, how should these workshops be delivered. So we're grateful for being part of that and for helping that to happen. And I think we're going to have some lessons learned that can be shared with other organizations too that might help them too. Okay, so now it is my pleasure to introduce Chris Brummer from our steering committee, and she is going to take us through the next part of our program. Chris.
Thank you, Dave, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to our final Catalyst meeting. We will now hear once more from our finalists and have an opportunity to ask them any questions on their proposals. This will be followed by a discussion and the vote on this year's Catalyst grant recipient. As a reminder, the three finalists are the Jordan Porco Foundation, who will bring the For What's Next program to an estimated 300 middle and high school aged youth in our 4 communities, and also provide a QPR, question, persuade, and respond training to 120 adults. Also, the National Association on Mental Illness, NAMI, who will provide living work applied suicide intervention skills training to 60 individuals in all 4 communities, 15 per community. And the Southington Youth Services, that will provide and strengthen suicide prevention efforts in Southington using a 3-pronged approach. 1, building assets and protective factors among youth, professional development for educators, and engaging the community. Each presenter will have 3 minutes to tell you how their program is catalytic in addressing this year's topic of suicide prevention among children and young adults. Following their remarks, we will open the floor to questions you may have for one or more of the presenters. And now I would like to ask our 3 finalists to come forward. Please tell us your name, the agency you represent, and how your project or program is catalytic. And from NAMI, I will be reading a statement from her after the 2 presenters. She was unable to attend tonight. She is facilitating a emerging adults group and could not find a backup facilitator. She sends her apologies, but I will be reading something from her.
Thank you. So again, my name is Christina Sims. I'm the Director of Youth Services. Just a quick show of hands of who lives in Southington. Okay, thank you. So Southington, to me, in the years that I've lived there, has a proven record for coming together as a community when needed. When a family is in need of a collection is taken or a pasta dinner is put together. When our community grocery store burns in a fire, the community began a GoFundMe page to begin a rebuild of that grocery store. When substance abuse needed to be addressed, a coalition was started using the strategic prevention framework to engage sectors to educate, reduce access, and change policy. It's that framework and all 13 sectors that we will engage in a suicide prevention effort. What a great way to begin a prevention and community education coalition effort of such an important topic. A topic that has a ripple effect that extends across all ages, races, income levels, and so on. Receiving a grant that will bring people together to talk in our community about suicide prevention is a much better catalyst than addressing a need after the result of a loss. The money received with the Catalyst Fund will be used by a community for a community to educate about warning signs for teachers, parents, and other caring adults. Money will be used to work with students to recognize symptoms in their peers and know the right services to access and how to make stronger connections with their peers. Funds will be used to support our Veterans Committee in the work they do with suicide prevention with their particular population. Developing a community-wide postvention plan to heal from a loss. These are all important things that need to be brought to the forefront. We do have a proven track record for being able to do what we say we do. However, we need to get the conversation started, and that's how this will be catalytic in nature. Funds will be used to start the work that is needed in all communities, start the conversation that can end the stigma, start the supportive network that will connect individuals that are struggling. The Catalyst Fund is only the beginning of a change we want in our community. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you first and foremost for having me back. I guess that means I didn't mess up too bad the last time we were together. I appreciate that. And obviously, on behalf of the Jordan Porco Foundation, we want to really extend our appreciation to be with you here again tonight. So, as you know, David and Jolene gave us a pretty specific assignment for this evening. And when they said, Matt, you'll have 3 minutes to tell us how your program is catalytic in addressing this year's topic of suicide prevention among children and young adults. And I thought to myself, yikes, I could probably spend 3 hours on this. So I better find a way to be pretty succinct, and I hope I've accomplished that. If you look up the definition of catalyst on the internet, what you'll find is a pretty scientific explanation of a certain kind of chemical reaction. However, I think, if you dig just a little bit deeper, it's really a simple meaning. It's to spark a change. And it's a simple case of taking an action to create a cause and an intended effect. And I think at the Jordan Porco Foundation, we're confident that our programs and our proposal has done that. We can create the change that we all want to see in the communities of New Britain, Berlin, Southington, and Plainville in the levels of stress, anxiety, distress, depression, and ultimately suicide among our children and young adults. Now, it also occurs to me that the other part of being an effective catalyst is in having the ability to bring together stakeholders from virtually every sector of the community to get the greatest impact and the results that we collectively, us together, want to achieve. The Jordan Porco Foundation's proposal is specifically designed to engage all stakeholders in the community to meet that common objective. By working with our middle schools, high schools, local not-for-profits, colleges, first responders, parents, and both business and community leaders, we can and will meet our goal. Our For What's Next program is a catalyst by forging a partnership with middle and high school faculty and administration, and in teaching our teenagers the psychological resiliency skills they need to effectively manage mental health adversity that often lead to suicidal thoughts and plans. Our Fresh Check Day program is a catalyst by bringing together the entire CCSU campus for the purpose of educating those college students about the resources that are available to them, and by creating an environment of openness and inclusiveness that kicks stigma to the curb. And finally, our community QPR and postvention trainings will be a catalyst by engaging our first responders, our municipal officials, business and community representatives, as well as our parents, and giving them the resources they need to know to learn the risk factors, the warning signs, help-seeking behaviors, and the information they need to be a model to our youth about being open about their struggles. At the Jordan Porco Foundation, because we have lost our own children to suicide, we're passionately driven to prevent it. And I think that's my time. Thank you very much.
And now I will read the statement from NAMI. As with all of NAMI's Connecticut programs, we believe people who have direct experience with suicide have an important role to play in suicide prevention and can be powerful agents for challenging prejudice and generating hope for people at risk. For example, in the NAMI Connecticut Young Adult Connection Group, participants connect and support others while discussing life challenges, participate and create thought-provoking activities, and develop goals that promote mental wellness. Therefore, in addition to offering an evidence-based suicide intervention program facilitated by 2 adult instructors, we will be able to raise awareness about available resources and network of supports expanding in the community. To recap, in the ASSIST program, participants learn to use a suicide intervention model to identify persons with thoughts of suicide, seek a shared understanding of reasons for dying and a turning point for living, develop a safe plan based upon a review of risk, and be prepared to do follow-up and become involved in a suicide-safer community. The level of change and success through ASSIST-trained individuals decrease stigma, that the caretakers and persons with thoughts about suicide are affected by personal and societal attitudes about suicide. Individuals will feel less depressed, less suicidal, less overwhelmed, less agitated, and more in control. In addition, they will experience improved personal resiliency and self-confidence. They will also gain help sooner through intervention. Trained lay people will be better prepared to identify someone at risk, develop safe plans, and intervene with a person with thoughts of suicide. They will also discuss suicide in direct manners, have access to available resources, and will be measured through survey results. And the last, to build stronger communities, to embed trained gatekeepers in communities for suicide prevention. At NAMI, together, we can create a suicide-safer community. And we thank Val for submitting that statement. So now we'll entertain any questions.
I have a microphone too.
Yes, okay. I probably will not be able to answer the NAMI.
No, you won't.
Okay. Sorry. Anybody have questions of either of the 2 presenters?
Making it easy.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
Yes.
Sure. Could you remind me?
Wait, we have a microphone.
For the Jordan Porco Foundation, can you remind me of where the foundation is based and sort of, is it a regional, national, local focus?
Yeah, so we're headquartered in Hartford. We were established and started in Connecticut. The namesake of the organization, Jordan, his parents are the co-founders, and they lived in Andover at the time and have been lifetime Connecticut residents. We're actually a national organization. We started in Connecticut and sort of grew and then grew into contiguous states and then regionally and nationally. So our college program is now in 43 states. We're working with over 200 colleges and universities, and I think we just surpassed the 100,000 college student mark, which we're exceptionally proud of. And then the For What's Next program is a newer program. We piloted that in Connecticut almost exclusively for the better part of 2 years. Went through 5 different iterations of that program till we finally thought we got it right. And we brought that to market as of January 1st. And between January 1st and about the end of this summer, we've been running around and promoting it, talking about it, and we've signed up so far about 65 schools and not-for-profit organizations that are now implementing it.
Anyone else? I'd like to thank both of you for your presentations, and also thank you for the work that you're doing. It's making a difference in children's lives. So now I'd like to ask Jolene to step up and take us through our next discussion and final votes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks, let's give another round of applause for our presenters. Thank you. I know they're gonna have a difficult time making a decision. First of all, I have to just say, there's so much great stuff going on tonight, and it may take us a little bit longer than 7:30, so I hope you'll forgive me, but not too much longer. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is at your table, if you would just take some time among yourselves to discuss your proposals. You might want to share any thoughts that you have, just discuss anything that's coming up for you before we do the vote.
Jolene?
Yes.
Are we sharing our thoughts at the tables with the group, or?
Well, you're going to share amongst yourselves just for a few minutes, and then we will have, we'll have some time when people can stand up and share with everybody.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Did you go to the September one?
I didn't, no, I did not.
Were you at the September one? Yes, that's right. The gentleman that was presenting.
Okay, let's kind of come back to being one big group. And we're now going to take a few minutes. If anybody has anything they want to say publicly, any comment, make a pitch, lobby, whatever, or say anything else that you need to before we vote, I have a microphone. So if you want to say anything, just raise your hand. Anyone? Yes? Oh, one moment.
Can you refresh our memories about Miami and whether Catalyst granted money to them before? And if we did, what was the topic then?
Okay, so Corey asked if we had made a grant before to NAMI and what the topic was, and we did. The topic was mental health issues among for youth, yeah. And they had a completely different group of people working there at the time. Is there okay? Yeah. So yes, that was. I think that was in 2014 or so. Anybody want to say anything? Joanne?
So as a director of the Early Childhood Collaborative of Southington, I have to put in a plug for my fellow Southington Youth Services Organization. She is right, they have really done a great job in getting all aspects of the community to work together, the youth services and the steps.
Anyone else? Anyone? Ruler? Sorry, Dave. I had to do it. Anybody? Okay, so now you can vote, assuming you have paid for your Catalyst membership. And if you want to become a member, we'll happily take your money. When you're done with your vote, just fold it, and Candace and Kim will be, and I will be getting.
I will sit here.
Mine is way back. It was really obvious as you walked away.
I did, yeah. The feeling
Thank you so much.
We'll just send it around.
This is a commercial announcement for an upcoming event while the votes are taking place. On the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, it is Giving Tuesday. And here in New Britain, we like to celebrate it as Giving Brews Day. So, this has worked out for several years in a row now. This year, our Giving Brews Day on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving will take place at 5 churches on Arch Street in New Britain for the first time. Our thanks to 5 churches who are giving us the brewery for free that day. Not that, not that the beer is free, but we didn't have to pay a rental charge to use the place, and that really helps. But it is a free happy hour event. Your first drink is on us. Join us at 5 Churches Brewing for a Giving Tuesday celebration. Enjoy free food, raffle prizes, and trivia. And this is being sponsored by The Buzz of Greater New Britain Chamber of Commerce and their Young Professionals Network. We're pleased to be part of this planning. And that evening, how many nonprofits are going to be joining us? 15 different nonprofits will have tables set up in the brewery so that you can learn all about what those nonprofits do. That's what this is all about. It's all about getting more involved in your community, learning about what those groups do, and there'll be some fun related to making your way around the room and getting more prizes as a result of making your way around the room and encouraging you to do that. So feel free to join us.
What time?
5 to 7:30. 5 to 7:30. You do not have to send in a reservation or anything like that. Just show up.
Yay. Okay, so is anybody still voting? One more? Okay. We're going to give you the result of the vote later in the meeting, but now I would like to ask Mark Berardi, who's a member of our steering committee, to come up and take us through a discussion on possibilities for next year's topic.
Thank you, Jolene. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your Catalyst membership, and most importantly, thank you for your generosity. Every year, Catalyst chooses a focus area to explore. Following proposal reviews, a grant is made. Like last year, we want to give all members the opportunity to provide feedback and possible topics. The steering committee will then select 3 final topics which will be presented to the entire membership and voted on as our choice for 2020. If you look on your tables, there's going to be a blue sheet of paper. One side outlines topics that we've already covered. The flip side lists ideas we've come up with that haven't been selected yet. So if you take a look at those with your table mates, those are meant to get your creative juices and conversations flowing. We try to pick a topic that is relevant in all 4 of the towns that we serve and where we can have an impact. We also need to be specific rather than picking something too broad to make it challenging for us to tackle. So we ask now to please take a few minutes and at your tables to discuss potential ideas that resonate with you. Please designate someone at your table to put their names on the green sheet of paper that you were given. And write down your ideas on that. And then once you're done, we'll convene and we'll discuss. Thank you.
I'll offer the
Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Our membership drive is now open for 2020. Forms are on your table tonight if you would like to fill them in. I'm told they are hot pink because we love color coding everything for our Catalyst meetings. We were just talking over there about the fact that we only use colored paper for this kind of meeting. It's amazing how many colors we get to use in one meeting. For your membership, you can pay by check or credit card online. You can also receive a 5% discount by setting up payment over 12 equal installments of $20 a month. This makes Catalyst affordable. To receive the discount, you have to set up your recurring payment between now and January 31st on our website.
Shouldn't you be giving a discount payment from the
Oh, they're working discounts now. Watch out. Watch out. Yes.
I just said $5 a week.
Hold on.
If we had set it up today, should we set it again to zero, will it automatically?
If you set it up this past year for automatic payment, it will continue. You do not have to do anything to adjust it in any way for this next year. Great question, thank you. Unless you want a second vote. You already got two? Okay. All right. Do I hear three? Three. Do I hear four? Okay. This also means now that starting last year, we now have recurring donation options on the Community Foundation website, which means that if you, your family, your business or organization has a donor advised fund, a scholarship, a designated fund, a field of interest fund, any of those with us, you can now set up recurring donations to your particular fund on our website so that you can also help to build up your fund to higher levels. If you'd like to learn about how you can establish your own donor advised fund for a low minimum of only $5,000, and that can be built over time, we now have fund booklets that we can give you that inform you about all of those options. Just request one from any of our staff at any time, or stop by the office. We'd love to see you. Have a cup of coffee. Final fundraising note, our annual Civic Leadership Fund appeal, our annual appeal for the year, is now ongoing. Some of you may have received the appeal in the mail. And any gift to that fund allows us to increase our grant-making activity in the 4 towns that we serve. So when you receive the appeal at home, or if you take one today from the table, we thank you in advance for your consideration of a gift to the CLF. Back to Catalyst Fund business. There was something that we needed to do tonight. What was that? Oh, Gary Brummett. He's going to come up and he's going to announce the organization that will be the recipient of the next Catalyst grant before I finish with the rest of the business for the evening. Gary.
Thank you, Dave. It's low budget. We didn't get an envelope. It's in a napkin. A dirty napkin. So it's my pleasure to announce the 2019 Catalyst grant recipient, Jordan Parko Foundation.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you all for your generosity and for your participation in the program. We look forward to hearing from them next November as to how they were able to make an impact in our communities with this particular grant. And now, final business items. A survey will be sent, as well as no, we're not doing the ballot. We're not sending the ballot because never mind. We're sending you a ballot, just like Jolene said, so that you can choose from the topics the steering committee has narrowed it down to. So you'll expect that, and there will be a survey about the Catalyst experience this year. The steering committee will make a decision on those and send that out to you. And once again, as Jolene said, if you want to be part of that group, please let her know. And now the appreciation drawing. I will be assisted by our crack staff who will help us out here. If one of you could hold the tickets. Yep, hold that. I'm feeling very generous tonight. Normally, I'd have to dig a little deeper into our foundation endowment for such an expensive, but an anonymous donor has come forward, and we thank them for that. Shaler Auto World, thank you very much for your support. Couldn't have done it without you. In fact, instead of one car tonight, we're going to give away 5 cars. That's right. to have them pull up into the front circle here. I got them right here. From the makers of Hot Wheels. Let's see what we have first here. 5 cars from the fine car makers at Hot Wheels. We have a brand new, hot, out of the box, Formula One racer. That's right, folks. Get excited. It's white with an orange driver and a blue undercarriage. Very select. Honda powered. My glasses are not that good. I can't see that. But what we're going to do is we're going to give away this car along with a Dunkin' Donuts gift card. That's right. So you can drive your car through the drive-thru and use the gift card at the same time. All right. So our first car goes to 684-705. 684-705. Who's got it? Oh, come on, you gotta want the car. Yeah?
June, you have it. Oh, June's got it.
Congratulations, June. Brand new car. I have the title paperwork and registration back at the office. We'll get it to you. We got a trailer out front. You can take it home. Next, we have a 2014 Corvette Stingray. No, wait, that's the wrong one. There's the Stingray. All right. Burnt orange exterior, perfect for the fall season. This is a black interior, perfect for those hot sunny days. With your Dunkin' Donuts card. From within the pile, 684-695. 695.
Oh, wait a minute, no, I got 867.
695. What's the number again? 895. 895.
695. 684-695.
695.
Pulling a new number. It's possible.
Okay, get another.
You have it? She has it.
Take a look. It's a little bit like...
I'm sure you got it.
All right, our next winner.
Yeah, that is 695. You did that.
This is a 1971 classic Dodge Demon with orange racing stripes. And that car goes to 684-706. Hey, the man who called for the car. Here you go, Brian.
Lori's got it.
Oh, the car's gonna go to her? Oh, he gets the car, you get the gift card. I get it. Okay. Next we have a limited edition McLaren Senna in orange with fully tinted windows and an awesome spoiler on the rear. That and the gift card goes to 726 are the last 3 digits. 726. Hey! Finally, we have a Mustang Mach 1 in silver with blue racing stripes, an overhead cam, and speed you're gonna love. That and a gift card go to 3 digits, 675, ends in 675. Hey! Thanks for having some fun with us on that. We appreciate that. What we do here, obviously, is very, very important. We impact people's lives in every gift that we each make to Catalyst, in every topic that we pick to learn about and make a grant for, in the conversations that we have with each other, as we learn from experts and from our community, and the impact our grants make bring us back year after year. In increasing numbers, because we want to do more. A year ago, we challenged everybody to help us increase the ranks of the Catalyst Giving Circle. And you did just that, and we were able to increase our grant to $12,500 this year. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for responding as a community and helping us make Catalyst the largest in membership it has been yet at 75 members. So thank you very, very much. Before I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, you can trade your name tag on the way out for one of the new reusable bags that Jolene is holding up there. Our new purple bags with our name on it. Use those proudly in the community. Funny story, those came about because we were talking to the town emergency staff and community service staff about things that we could do as a community foundation to help out in the case of a natural disaster. And they started to tell us about one of the things that happened as a result of the plastic bag law. That a lot of the food pantries and a lot of those services provided by the towns and nonprofits were relying on the plastic bags to give out the food on a daily basis to the families that needed them. And they were panicking because where before they were getting some donations from people like you and me of our reusable bags for them to use, once the law took place, nobody wanted to give up their reusable bags anymore. And they weren't going to be able to get the plastic bags anymore because people didn't want to pay the dime for them and give them to the food pantries afterwards. So we did what we could as quickly as we could. We ordered 5,000 of these reusable bags, and in just the last couple of weeks we've given 3,000 of them out to all the food pantries in our 4 towns. And many of the food pantries were saying to us they were meeting with their board of directors because they didn't know what they were going to do, and they really appreciated that. So this is our thanks to you for being part of this group and knowing that other people in the community are also benefiting from this in a small way that we can contribute to that. So to everybody here, happy Thanksgiving. Best wishes for a beautiful holiday season. To all of you, good night. Hand in your badge and you'll get a bag. Good night, everybody.